Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate the gesture and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a delightful 42mm stainless steel Glashutte Original Vintage 60s Panorama Date. So 42mm in diameter in stainless steel with the spirit of the swinging 60s. The watch is full-sized in the modern idiom, and as you can see, beautifully bubble-shaped with the sapphire evocative of a 1960s plexiglass. The watch is compact, lug-to-lug, you can see on my 16cm circumference wrist. The watch measures 48.5mm, which means I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14cm in circumference. In terms of thickness, it's easy to wear at 11.9mm thick, but you can see that the loft and the slope of the crystal means that the watch effectively wears even thinner with respect to a cuff. The spacing between the lugs is 20mm, and the timepiece is equipped with a handsome alligator leather strap. It's the rarely seen small-scale round alligator leather in navy blue, handsome with a little bit of bolstering down the center, a monotone stitch and a folded edge. You can see on the underside there's calf skin. Don't be deceived, it is calf. And the timepiece equipped with a nice little pin buckle, a handsome piece that is specific to Glashutte Original, nicely branded. There's a little revetment for the pin in the buckle, detail that I always appreciate. The case band itself is wonderfully slender, elegant, simple, and vintage evocative. The lugs are nicely stepped out, so they have some definition of their own, and they also create a sharp cleft between the lug and the case band that adds a little bit more masculine strength to this relatively feminine, soft, and one might even say gracefully compound arced case. Now, rolling up to the top, you can see that the dial is something special. Framed by a conical, polished bezel, it's a handsome blue sunburst, and you can see its texture in exquisite fashion. What you may not be able to see quite as clearly is that what appear to be applique hour indices are actually hollows in the dial. So the dial has actually been hollowed out using a graving tool, a mechanical graving tool, and then the base of each slot has been mirror polished to create the appearance of applique indices. The dial is loomed. You can see there's a small amount of superluminova outboard of each of the 12 hours. The minute and hour hands at center are nicely loomed, and we use a swinging 60s style font for the quarter Arabics, 12, 3, 6, and 9. The dial also features a handsome loft in its own right. It's slightly domed to trace the arc of the sapphire. You can see that the timepiece features a stepped aperture for the Panorama Date. It is a large date with twin monotone discs. You can barely see the cleft between the two discs. They are absolutely flush together, and there's a faceted step down from the dial to the discs themselves that's more progressive than a sheer cut through the dial would have been. And of course, Glashutte Original not just making its own movements, but also its own dials in exquisite fashion. Turn the watch over and we have that manufacture movement. Automatic winding, 39 joules with a 40-hour power reserve, plus or minus 2 hours according to the company, beaten away at 4 Hz. This is the GUB 3947, a handsome in-house caliber with a quick set date and stop seconds function. You can see it features a black polished swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism, a skeletonized winding mass with the Glashutte Original logo. Underneath you can see Glashutte stripes as well as across the top of the rotor itself, and then you can see there is a double spiral grain to the reduction wheel of the winding system, a handsome effect that's executed by hand finishing. You'll also appreciate the fact that all of the screws are nicely black polished, and there is an equally domed sapphire over the movement itself that makes it easy to appreciate in any light at any angle. All of this 30 meters water resistant, so it's not an aquatic watch, but you've got a Senator or vintage 70s, I should say, for that purpose. You can see this handsome all-arounder and make it yours on the Watchbox. Glashutte Original Vintage 60s Panorama Date by night.